just would not allow anything to go through. So we're on the laptop now anyway, so we're okay.
Yep, and we are already live, Michelle.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, everyone.
So, welcome everyone. You will gather, folks, that we had about 10 minutes of problems with Michelle's connection. And so I'm going to hand over to you, Daniela. Welcome back, Daniela. How are you doing?
Hi, good evening. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, darling. How are you?
Thank you for your time tonight. I know, well, people that do your job, they're normally very busy and don't have a lot of spare time, I think.
They try to keep me as busy as possible, I think.
Yeah, probably. So we're going to speak about the charity you work for, Age Concern.
I do, yeah, and that's the branch in Fuengirola, Mijas, and Benalmádena.
So tell us a bit about your work, your general work, and then we go a bit more specific what people can join you for or do.
Yeah, no problem at all. Well, I joined the charity just over a year ago, so I'm quite a newbie. A lot of the other people in the charity have been there for quite a long time now. More or less, most of them are veterans who've been there since it was started about 10 years ago now. So for me, I started as a volunteer in the shop. My first sort of interaction with Age Concern was to start doing a fashion show for them to raise some money. Age Concern literally does not get any funding from any public bodies or anything, so they rely on donations totally. So myself and a lot of the other volunteers got together, did a fashion show, raised some money, and we thought, oh, that's a good idea. And then one of the very kind volunteers who actually is on the committee, which is a good friend of mine, Leslie, she said, oh, well, we'll not leave it there. Why don't you come and be events and fundraising manager? So the rest is history. So literally we went off then to be events and fundraising manager. So for the past year, I've been trying to pull some money in and do those kinds of things. So we're quite lucky. We've got some great supporters, and every time we put an event on and things, we do get a lot of funding. But I think for me, where my role has changed recently is that the charity's come from a group of really good-hearted people, community people who wanted to see a difference in their local areas. And I remember sitting at a committee meeting and I kept calling it an organisation. And one of the ladies said, oh my God, I hadn't actually realised we were an organisation. And it's kind of moved from where they were collectively just a group of people doing a great job.
It's a group of nice people.
Yeah. So now I'm trying to help them a little bit with putting their strategies together and developing new websites and some other services and things like that we're putting in as well. So all good.
That's do you call the members the elderly people that join you for specific
yeah, they
events?
Don't. Yeah, they don't at this branch. They call them clients. And mainly the name as a client, most of the people that we would identify as clients, who people would come to most of the social occasions. So the things like the drop-in centres, the trips away, the lunches. So that's one element of the audience of Age Concern, if you like. But then there's also the local community. If anybody that's over the age of 50 and is English speaking can access support and help and advice from Age Concern. So we have two different sort of aspects.
So anyone from 50 years onwards can join you as a client.
That is correct.
And what do you offer? Because many times what I think here on the coast, one of the biggest problems is that people maybe moved here. They have their family back in their home country. Maybe they're widowed and then all of a sudden become lonely. Or, I mean, here, I think on the coast, there's a lot of people coming and going. So like even if you had maybe friends, or then maybe they moved back or they passed away, unfortunately. So there's a lot of loneliness here, unfortunately.
There is, definitely. And I think that's not only just for Age Concern here, and obviously the other branches of Age Concern along the coast as well. That is obviously the whole Age UK charity. That is one of the main things that they're about. It is about that befriending. It's about that support. It's about making sure nobody feels vulnerable or alone. But that being said, that is quite easy in some respects if you're willing to come out of your home and go to a coffee morning or go to a lunch.
Yeah,
but then how do we interact with those people who are frightened to go to a coffee lunch, or they just don't want to come out their home? They should still be able to reach out to us and offer those services and not be afraid, and come to us for the help that they need when they need it. And I think for me, the focus is much more in the years to come to be a lot more proactive and offer these services rather than having to help when it becomes like a crisis mode, you know?
Yeah, of course. And
Yeah.
would you say that the clients contact you more directly, or is it many times also that family members or friends contact you and ask you for advice or for help if they have a lonely or ill family member or friend here locally?
Yeah, I think there's a mixture of both. Like you said in the beginning, Daniela, most people come here and they come normally with a partner. Most people don't come alone. If they do, it's a very brave decision, and you know they're normally the independent people that don't mind going out for lunch on their own or meeting new people. But often people do come as partners, and again, it gets to that point where they realise, and I've got friends that are in similar positions. They get to that point where they realise they need some help. And maybe they're just in a local bar or in a local pub, or they're walking around a supermarket and they suddenly hear that these services exist, and the carer or their partner will call out and say, is there any help available? But what we want to try and do is trying to take those steps earlier so that we can help people before they get to that situation, and that we can all help each other to sort of be proactive. So for example, one of the services that we just looking to implement is called From Hospital to Home. And we've managed to have some great donations. We raised a lot of money at the gala dinner just recently. And what we decided is that initially we were looking to purchase equipment. So we purchased a bed, a hospital bed. We purchased some hoists for the bed to get people from to the toilet.
Yeah, like a lift.
Like that. So we managed to save us, but we still had funding left. One of the things with doing that is that when somebody calls us and says, oh, can we have a hospital bed? We don't know whether they know how to use it. We don't know whether they've got the space there provided to get it in the house in the first place. All those circumstances are difficult to enable us to put things into place. So one of the things that we're going to do now is we're going to come to, well, you can either, maybe you have an elective admission and you're going into hospital for a hip replacement, or you've had a fall and you've gone in and it was an emergency. What we're going to do with Age Concern is we're going to provide a service where a qualified nurse will come to that person's home. They'll assess whether they've got any friends, any support, any help in their home. They'll look and see if they need equipment or help. They'll also look and ask them if they have applied for things like attendance allowance, which most British people living on the coast are entitled to if they've got a chronic illness or something like that. So we want to put those services in place so that then we prevent the, oh my God, my mum's in hospital and I don't know what to do kind of calls that we get at the end of the day. So yeah, lots of good things happening at the moment.
And do your clients have to pay you like a minor member fee or something, or nothing?
Not at all. We totally rely on donations, and we also rely on the good of our volunteers, which is another topic that I know we'll cover in this discussion. But volunteering is our main thing for Age Concern. Without those volunteers, we can say that we can offer these services, but obviously it's at a limit. You know, we can only provide as much of these services for the people that help us at Age Concern as well.
Yeah, we will speak about that a bit later. Tell me about because it's not only if elderly need like medical help, because you do a lot of social events or things.
Yeah.
One I like very much is that you do like excursions and coach trips.
Yeah.
Because tell us a bit because apart from the coffee mornings you do as well. When do you do them? Where?
And, coffee mornings. Yeah, we have 4 coffee mornings a week, and I'll just make sure I've got my exact information so I don't send anybody to the wrong places. Yeah, so we have 4 coffee mornings a week. So if we start, we've got one in La Cala de Mijas, and that one happens every Friday from 11 o'clock, and that's in Bar Pena Flamenca del Sur. So plenty of car parking outside and everything, so people can pop down there. The theme of most of the coffee mornings are the same. So they pop along for a little chat with their friends or to meet other friends, and they may do a quiz. They might have a game of bingo. They normally do a raffle, those kind of things. So it's all very social, and they can just have a little chat. So they start at 11.
Is that legal, playing bingo?
Well, it's only for chocolate. There's no money involved there. Yeah, so you don't win any money. Yeah, just for chocolate. Yeah.
But you don't have to.
Yeah,
but you can show up without knowing anyone, even because you said you meet your friends. You can just come along and there will be a volunteer who will show you around and present you to the others, I would assume.
Yeah, they're always a friendly welcome in all of these places. And as well, you don't have to come alone. If you've got a friend, they don't have to be over 50 either. I drag my daughter along often to come and help out and things like that, but she's in her 20s, It doesn't have to be, if you've got somebody that you want to take along and,
well, at least for the first time to feel a bit more comfortable.
Of course.
Or
and
someone, because many are not driving. So
relies on volunteers. So we do have a volunteering driving service, which if you are struggling to get to a hospital appointment and you physically can't get transport or you don't have anybody there to help you, you can put a request in. And obviously that's on a sort of means tested. They will have a chat with you and see what your circumstances are. And if we can have a volunteer driver, then that volunteer driver will take you to that. And it doesn't have to be a hospital appointment. Sometimes, I'm not saying they'll take you out to the local pub on a Friday night, but, if there is certain things that, are really important to that person, then we'll have a chat and we'll try and help out as much as we can. And other clients do that as well. So they'll say, I'm popping past that way, I can pick you up. Or, it is a very friendly charity.
And the other coffee mornings are?
Yeah, the other coffee mornings. So that one was the Cala de Mijas. Then we have Mijas Pueblo, and that is at Tapas Bar Carmen. That one's on a Wednesday, and it starts a little bit later. That one starts at 12 o'clock and finishes at 1:30. And Jeff, who runs that one, again, volunteers run all of these coffee mornings. He has a lovely guitar that I'm sure on several occasions he pops out at those coffee mornings. So if you happen to be in one of the Mijas Pueblo ones, you can have a little sing along there as well. So so that's Mijas Pueblo. And then probably the next one, Los Boliches, that is we use the Pensionista building in Fuengirola, which is a really good service for us. They're very helpful from the town hall and everything. So that one is on a Thursday. And again,
lucky
11 to 1 o'clock. Yeah, we use that one on a Thursday. And last but not least is our lovely coffee morning that's run by Angela Croft down in Benalmadena. And that's at Restaurant Chino Peking, which is in the Arroyo Square. And again, that's from 11 till 1. But if anybody needs any information on any of these, we do have a website, which at the moment is being redeveloped, but our emails are still working at the moment. So I can give you information on our email address, and they can always just send an email to us, and we'll direct them to their nearest drop-in.
Perfect. Yeah, well, Bill and I will share the contact details as well. And it's just in the ticker below as well. And if not, people can contact Bill or myself. And also family members that are worried about their parents or something.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And so tell me about the excursions, because I liked that one very much. Where do you go? And how does it work? Because that's, I think, is a very cool thing to do, to go to places together. And
yeah, so part of that, Michelle, will you be a volunteer in the charity shop on a Wednesday afternoon? Didn't say, will you be trip coach person giving tours around half of the Costa del Sol? But yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, the first one was a bit nerve-wracking, a bit like this live cast. But yeah, after that, we learned a little bit. Yeah, so last year we did ones to things like shopping down in Gibraltar around Christmas time. We do trips up to Ronda. It's normally sort of not too far away, so it's normally within sort of 1.5 hours, and that will be people who, again, maybe haven't got the best mobility and need walking aids and things like that. Either myself or one of the other volunteers will help them and take them around, so they're not actually left on their own if they don't want to.
Is that financed through the donations as well, or do the people have to pay?
No, what we do with that again is, because it's more or less the social side, during these coffee mornings, they will do tombola things for raffle prizes. And what they'll do is they'll keep those tombola monies and they keep accumulating. And once there's so much, what they'll do is they will put a coach on, and it's always subsidised. So it's maybe 5 or 10 euros or something. It's never sort of a lot of money. The charity doesn't make money out of those social things. Yeah.
Because many times here, even especially if you're renting a place with the current rental prices and you're on a pension or something, maybe you don't leave your house because you can't afford to do things.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. And there is always that contention, because obviously you're providing a service to these people, and this to me is like medicine. It's not a case of you're providing this for a profit. This is for people's mental health. This is like, just equally as valuable as taking a tablet, letting them go on a coach trip or having a lunch
Yeah, of course.
somewhere or
Better
something.
than a tablet.
But you do get that consciousness of, there are lots of tour operators in the area. They get a little bit, well, you've put this trip on for X amount of money, but it is genuinely just for the people that need it and need that support. It's not about making profit for the organisations or anything like that at all. My best reflection of my trips last year, we took a group of people down to the Malaga Lights, and we were standing underneath the lights, and we must have had maybe about 6 walking aids and everything, and the walking aids were definitely better than a handbag to dance around to White Christmas.
And then people can't come so close and steal your wallets and that.
We made quite a stir on Calle Larios. It was lovely.
And then one other very important thing, in my opinion, is the helpline. Tell us a bit about the helpline.
The helpline is just absolutely incredible. I cannot sing its praises enough. And mainly, fundamentally, that helpline has been manned for years by one lady. Her name is Linda Ewan, and she's been an absolute star. And I think most people across the coast that have dealt with the helpline will tell you exactly the same. That lady will help you so much. What we're trying to do at the moment with the helpline, people can ring, and we've got obviously lots of partners that run different things. We don't do everything ourselves, and we don't provide everything ourselves, but we can signpost to people, and we can also help with. One of the important things is the attendance allowance for a lot of people, and understanding how they can.
But what will people call you for?
There is in the UK, if you are, and I haven't got all the total facts here because it's not my area, but I'll give you a brief synopsis. There is a benefit in the UK that if you have a chronic illness or you need support for self-care or you have a terminal illness, you can apply to the British government, which is a 30-page form, I might add, which is not an easy task for most people. It's quite daunting. You can complete that form, and there is a different scale of this allowance, and you can get a little bit of money back to help you with your care needs. So, for example, if somebody needed to have some private independent care come into their home every week, they could choose to spend it on this. They don't have to. They can spend it on whatever they feel they need. But so lots of people do call the helpline for advice about how they can do that and how they can complete it, and would they be acceptable for that. So we do get a lot of calls around that. We also get a lot of crisis calls from people in hospital, and they do live on their own. They want to return home, but they haven't got a care system in place. These are always the difficult cases for age concern, because we don't have finite funds, so we can't, unfortunately, provide all this private care or anything. But what we try and do is try and signpost, try and help, try and partner with other organisations like the British Benevolent Fund or aged care, or there's lots of different organisations that we can work with, but we do try and help and signpost.
But you don't have to be British to be a client of Age Concern.
You have to
yes.
Well, no, you don't, but you do need to be English speaking, because most of the people that provide the services are only fluent in English. However, we do offer, if we can, a translation service. So, for example, if somebody cannot speak Spanish and they go into a hospital appointment and they are really alone and everything, if we have the volunteers, then again, we can offer some support and do that with them. So, the other good thing is through the helpline as well is we have what we call a mobility equipment loan service. So we buy wheelchairs, commodes, we've got a fantastic hospital bed, this hoist. And if people do need that equipment in the homes, often that can be very expensive as well to either purchase or rent from independent companies. So we've got equipment that people can come and loan. And I'm not going to say a figure because I haven't got the figures in front of me, but they are literally, in the 10 euros and 5 euros a week. They're very affordable for people.
Because I see that many times on Facebook, people that have wheelchairs and that. Do you take them as donations as well?
Yeah, we do. We obviously don't like to refuse any donations at Age Concern. Again, we have the charity shop, which we'll probably pick up on as well, but we try not to refuse any donations, because not only do maybe the equipment might not be what we would loan, because obviously for us there's some liability issues and things like that, But if that wheelchair does work and we know somebody that's in need of a wheelchair, we can offer and again put that name to that wheelchair or whatever equipment it is. So we do take, I mean, even to the point where we do take in a lot of things like incontinence pads, not obviously used ones, which would be a good idea, would it? No. But packs where unfortunately people have bought these and they are very expensive and people do struggle to pay for these things, never throw them away. Just give us a call on one of the lines.
Or crutches or anything,
somebody will be able to help,
And you also help with shopping trips, you told me beforehand?
Yeah, we can do that. Again, some people are literally housebound and they have nobody. And during COVID, I wasn't involved in Age Concern during COVID, but they were so good at getting food out to people and doing shopping trips and things like that. Again, this is something that in the UK, they've got systems where they do run little minibuses and take people on sort of social occasions to get their shopping.
But so you take them shopping or you do the shopping for them?
Well, again, it can be a bit of both. Our services are, as long as we've got the volunteers to allow us to do the service, we'll help with whatever is needed, and it could be that not necessarily this age concern volunteer, but it might be one of those friends that you've met at the coffee mornings or something that can help with that service. We do work as a team, The name sort of volunteer sometimes frightens people off because they feel as though they've got to do a full-time job, and it's not, Somebody, like you say, we might be able to take a volunteer on who would just do shopping once a week for one person or something, It's
and do many people need that service? So I'm just asking because I always think that our community here in Mijas is so special, and they all stick together and help each other, that I would assume that normally a neighbor or would ask or offer help with the shopping at least, or
we do have a few. We do have a few, and I think it is one of those things that unfortunately some people are so fiercely independent that when it gets to the stage where they do need that support, often they don't ask a friend because they feel as though then they're admitting that their health's deteriorating and whatever reason, and it's about trying to keep in touch with the people that are around. And like you say, it is about community. It is about everybody working together. And that's the passion of Age Concern. It was just a group of community people trying to do things. But obviously, lots of people kind of come and go in their local areas. The areas are getting bigger. We've got more residents. So it is sometimes difficult to keep track on people, and people are getting isolated. Yeah.
Do you, by any chance, have the numbers, how many clients you have roughly at the moment?
We don't. Client-wise, this is one thing that I keep talking about, the organisation versus the group of people who've done such a good job in the past 10 years, We have this group of clients as such that will visit and regularly attend a coffee morning, which I think is probably about 150 people. But that is not necessarily the people who are calling the helpline all the time.
No.
So there's much more numbers. So at the moment, again, with the helpline, in the past it's been, like I said, this lovely lady called Linda who's looked after that helpline. Now we need a team of people to look after that, but we also need to collect the data of how many people are calling an hour, what times they're calling, and all of those kinds of things, which is more of the organizational stuff that we're getting into at the moment.
And now coming to the volunteers, which are the ones that make all this possible, because without them you wouldn't be able to do all of this amazing work. If someone wanted to become a volunteer, I think you can say, I've got 2-3 hours a week. You don't have to do it like on a daily basis or something. They can choose whatever time they have available. And then what volunteer jobs would be available?
Yeah, we've got lots of different volunteer opportunities. I mean, one of the biggest one is obviously our charity shop in Los Beliches, which is a great funding source for the charity. So that is open from 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock every day, and apart from Sunday. And on a Wednesday, it's open from 2 till 6 on the evening as well. We've got teams of volunteers that work in the charity shop, which is fantastic. Also outside of that, we have the drivers that take people to hospital. We have the people who are answering the helpline. We've got people who, for example, nobody gets paid on Age Concern. So the committee members don't get paid. Nobody gets paid. So we've got a fantastic treasurer. We've got people who do publications. We've got people who look after websites. It's a case of sometimes people just think volunteering is just about giving X amount of hours a week. But what's sometimes good is it could be a one-off thing. So if you're really good at, say, for example, teaching people customer services skills on the telephone, and you offer us a training program for some of our volunteers, fantastic. It might be a one-off. You might only do it, now and then, never again. But those kind of services are still really good for us as well. So we just always say is if you've got any time or you feel as though you've got a skill that the charity would benefit from, give us a call. We'll speak to you, have a chat with you, see what your likes and things are, and then hopefully there'll be a fit somewhere along the charity. I'm sure there would be.
And you said you give them training as well.
Yeah, this is something again which is just developing further at the moment. Obviously, when they work in the shop, they get specific training. When they start taking people's details, we talk about confidentiality, we talk about all of those things. But in the future, we've just started to explore things such as first aid training. Because lots of the time people have maybe come to Spain and retired, they've stopped working for a few years, they've lost a little bit of confidence in what they used to do, but actually for some reason they've decided they want to return to work. And it's that bridge between giving them the confidence again as working in a shop or doing a bit of driving that then gives them the confidence to get a job again, or gives them an avenue to look at that. And if we can offer some skills, so whether that be first aid, whether that's window dressing in a shop, whether that's answering a telephone, fantastic. It's all about giving something back to the people who give time to the charity.
Of course.
So, yeah.
I would say poor Bill. We're speaking so much and so fast. Poor Bill didn't have a chance yet to say anything.
I have nothing to add here, because I think you've covered a lot of the topics that if I had questions, and Michelle and I have spoken on various occasions, and I think you covered a lot of the topics. And, I think one of the comments I've made in the past is that we do have and are going to have more of an aging population here, because it's going to be very hard from now on, especially with Brexit, for young families to come over to Spain. If they're coming on non-lucrative visas, they can't work for 5 years. I don't know many young families that can afford not to work for 5 years. So I think the people that are coming over are going to be retired people. And an awful lot of the people that I know in Mijas are retired. Some of them have been here for 20 years. I was with a lady yesterday trying to sort something out with her. She's 80. She looks fantastic. She's very mobile. But, there is this aging population. And, I'm not criticizing Spain because it is what it is, but we don't have the level of social support here that they may have been used to in the UK. Or and I know this from when my mother was sick and I was here and she was there, and negotiating with the hospitals and with the social work services, and this idea of the continuity of care, that social work was put in place before they left the hospital, and everything was in place when they got home. That sort of thing doesn't happen here.
Yeah, you're definitely right, yeah.
A problem. It's the language barrier that
most
problem, of the people here don't speak Spanish. So that's, I think, one of the biggest issues also.
Yeah.
Even if they have been here 20 years or so, then of course, if they need help with someone translator for a doctor's appointment, and then they don't have anyone or feel embarrassed, what we said before, because they don't want to be a pain to other people. So, but that's what you do as well. You give them company as a translator to the medical center and that, no? You said.
Yeah, we do. We can offer that as well. But again, like you're saying, Danielle, I think that there's another stage to that for me as well, which is something that I don't know how prevalent it is. But like Bill picked up, the whole Brexit and the whole residency scenario, I'd like to know if we could get a figure on how many of these older adults, if you like, are here and are just like a time bomb. They daren't leave the country because they haven't got the legal paperwork. They're not in line with the health system, so they're not getting their cancer screening checkups. They're not getting the heart disease because they've lived here for so long underneath the blanket, if you like. That actually now they're too scared to put their heads above and ask for help because they feel as though, they're doing something wrong by even being here now. It is like you say, it's difficult, and the services are totally different to what you would get in the UK. And for me, when you see a family here in Spain, they're older adults, their grandparents, their aunts, their uncles, they bring them into their home and they embrace them as they get older. Whereas as English people, and I'm quite happy to say this, it's not happy to say it, but that's not the system that we were brought up with. When people get to need an awful lot of help, then they rely on the services, like Bill was saying, like the social care services, like the nursing homes, like all of those kind of facilities that we have in the UK. And that just isn't here. And I don't know whether people plan to get to that stage and think, when I do get to that stage, I am going to need to financially have some of these systems, or I am going to have to force myself to get into social groups and things. I'm not too sure,
Mm. Yeah, it's a very difficult one because an awful lot of the health and social care services, and I'm not criticizing them, but there is a kind of implicit understanding that families will do a certain amount, and that's fine. But that's even changing for the Spaniards now, because this is a far more mobile society now than it used to be. And young folk are not, they get married, they're moving away, they're chasing work, they're doing things. So that aspect of even Spanish society is changing. So maybe these services will have to change in time with it. But, that's not going to happen tomorrow or the day after.
No. And I think you've got I think one of the, it's obviously such a big topic, older adults and things, but it is as well, for me, it's how we can be proactive. So how can we get some of the healthy living messages through? How can we start to do like exercise things? How can we sort of pull economies of skill together so we can work with other organisations that are already doing some of these great things and not reinvent the wheel, and actually work a lot more as a community and pull these things together. And hopefully by doing that, we don't have to respond so much to the crisis ones of people falling ill with some of these diseases that we know we can start preventing if we have a little bit of lifestyle change and things. It is difficult, like you say, it's going to take a long time to fix everything if we ever do.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that a few people contact you and want to become a volunteer. And also, I do hope that also you got contacted by people that need your help. And until now, maybe they didn't dare to ask for help. And well, we said 50 plus. You don't have to be ill to go to a coffee morning or anything. It's there's 50 plus. I think it's a good age, and you can as you said, the first time if you feel uncomfortable, you can come with your son or daughter or neighbor or whatever, and to meet some new people in the area. And I think that's also important for these. For this group of people, that they maybe speak to others and have share their experience how to get things sorted and that with the health issues or everything. And I mean, what you said and all the things you offer, and I wouldn't mind coming on a coach trip with you. So
we'll definitely sort that one out.
Only if you play bingo.
We normally do a raffle on the bus as well. Have some fun on the bus as well.
That's good.
Listen, I've got some photos here, which
we totally forgot about the photos.
I felt so guilty as well when I just before I got on the call and Daniela had asked me to send some photos across. I thought, oh my goodness, I didn't put Vicky's on of the gala dinner. I just suddenly sent a few of my phone. So these are lovely ladies. This was an afternoon tea that we arranged. That's Angela, our fantastic volunteer who does the drop-ins down in Benalmadena. They've got such a great group. So this was the Queen's celebrations earlier on last year. So the cupcakes in the middle, yes, I did donate them and make rather a lot of cupcakes for the ladies. So I get involved in lots of things. Yes, that's Angela again with her crown. We've got a few of Angela. Yes, that's us. Charity shop. Yeah, we do the charity shop as well. Lovely bunch of ladies. Good fun. Having a nice glass of carver at Christmas. More from down in Benalmadena for their queen. So I should imagine they'll have their king's coronation stuff out shortly as well.
Yeah.
So anybody who wants to celebrate with some more, expats or people who want want to do with her. This is our lovely vice president, and Chrissy, the lady on the right, she's in charge of all of our volunteers. So when you send a form in to be a volunteer, or you send a telephone call in, it'll be Chrissy at the other end. Yeah, so a small team, but everybody works really hard. Oh, this is the one you like, Daniela. This is
I see.
last year. Yeah. So lovely ladies up in Runda. And the good thing is, I always say to them, if you're alone, you can always follow me for a wine and a tapas. And do you know what it is? The groups are growing. I used to be sitting alone with a wine and tapas now, and now we've got bigger groups.
Yeah, it's nice. Also with the excursions, I mean, if you live on your own, so what do you do? Do you go on your own to Runda or to Gibraltar? I mean, this is so amazing. So
yeah,
that
and you know what it is, Danielle? Some of those ladies did come to me and say they wouldn't normally have gone on a trip because they don't have sort of a +1 to go with, a friend to go with. And it's kind of, you don't have to be alone. There's always one of us that will say,
no, it looks, they look all very happy.
Yeah, just come along and we'll, you've just, like I say, you've just got to like wine and tapas, yeah.
Yeah. So, alcohol is allowed.
Yes, definitely. Now this is again our volunteers, so we don't always do things through the sort of charity, if you like. So this is a group of friends now who have been volunteers, my daughter in there as well. But we went out, we've got a good friend, John on Bombay Sapphire in for Wengarola, and he always gives us a good deal to go out on the boat in the summer. So this is just us out on a social evening, yeah. Everybody's become friends, yeah. Great team of people.
Excellent.
Well, thank you for everything you do. And I hope that what I said before, that both contact you, either people that feel a bit lonely or volunteers or people that want to become a volunteer that have a bit of spare time, because I think what you do is amazing and very, very important for our community.
Can you just confirm, Michelle? I don't know if you know these numbers off by heart. We tend not to these days. I took these off a website.
I don't, but let me just double check. 652-537-615. That is correct. Yeah, and the shop number again. Let me just check that one. 952-191-544. Yeah, perfect.
And the email address there, fym@ageconcern.org.s.
Yeah.
Perfect. So
perfect. Actually, sorry, Bill, the email address has changed. It's info at. Yeah, that must be an old one. Yeah, I think it must be linked to our new website and everything. So it's changed slightly, that one.
Right. So it's info at
Age Concern, and then it's fym.es.
FYM. Oh.
Yeah.
.es. Okay. We'll see if that looks right.
Actually, I'm just looking here. It's not. It's .com. I'll see how bad I am now. You know, we got through all of that to the end.
It is .com. You're just trying to confuse me.
.com, yeah.
That's fine. We will share the email address under the video links. Then it's easier for people also to copy and paste it.
And thank you so much for inviting us to be part of your.
Of course. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for everything you do.
We've got a comment. We've got a comment from Vicky. Let's have another gala.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah,
I think I remember the photo you were saying.
It was certainly good.
Yeah, we'll definitely think about that next year. Yeah, because it was a good evening, and we raised a lot of money. We raised nearly €4,000 for Age Concern, which was fantastic. Yeah, first one they've ever had as well, so that was brilliant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Okay.
So, well, Michelle, I know Danielle will say what she has to say, but I want to say thank you for all that you're doing, and it's been lovely to meet up with you on several occasions now. Yes. And I think that, you know, in time, what you're doing can be perhaps knitted better into the other services that are around, and that's not a criticism of you. It's the fact that you know, Spanish services sometimes don't interact that closely with English-speaking services, but I think that there's a lot that can be done here. I think that there's a real set of sort of, you know, in interactions between services that I think could be really helpful.
Yeah, I think for me, and I do say this to the team of Age Concern at the moment, I think there's been a fear because there's only a small group of people to sometimes kind of interact with some of those other places in case they get overwhelmed and they can't sort of support. But actually by interacting with other people and interacting with a lot of these different organisations, often you can get economies of scale. So if somebody's doing it somewhere else, we don't need to do that ourselves. We can just jump together and work together. So that's definitely on the horizon.
Wonderful. Okay.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, and to all your volunteers, what you do.
Yeah, we had a fantastic volunteers lunch down in the marina last week with all of our volunteers. Yeah. And I think the highlight of the day was Jai Northover, which is a good friend who does a lot of different things, but he's famous for doing Ed Sheeran and playing a flute. He was singing Robert Miles' 90s dance music on the marina. We had ages from 20s to 80s dancing and raving on the marina, smiling along together as a family, which was definitely a highlight, which was lovely.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Michelle. It's been really informative, and people have got the contact details now if they would like to get in touch with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for bearing with me getting online.
No problem.
Thank you.
We managed to do it.
Bye.
Yep, and we've got one final comment here from Cheryl Upton. Michelle, you and the team are doing a fantastic job. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone.
All right,
that's us for another week. Can I thank you? A lot of people joined in today, and I know a lot of people will catch up with this over the weekend. Thank you so much to everyone. We're almost at the weekend, so have a great weekend when it comes. Thank you, Daniela, for organising this with Michelle. And well, I shall see you next week. And I think Mario Bravo will be joining me next week. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye now. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.